Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope y'all are doing well. Today I'll go over a simple string formatting technique that you can use in Python. I'm going to go over a simple example at first, and then we're going to take a look at how formatted strings evaluate expressions at runtime. Then we're going to look at a very quick debugging technique that you can use with formatted strings. And finally, we're going to take a look at how you can use formatted strings easily with dictionaries. So with that being said, let's get started. The first thing I'll have is some mock data over here. So I'll have my name, my age, my profession, and I'm gonna have the city that I live in. Right? There you go. So now the simple example, all you have to do is write a F before you start your string and then put your string in quotation. Right? So let's say I have something called I am, I'll write my age here, years old, my profession here, living in, and my city here. So you can see I have age, profession, and city. And for these three values over here, I want to put the values that are there in the variables over here. So all you have to do is, for age, you open a curly brace and then you put age inside. For profession, similarly, you open a curly brace and you put profession. And for city, similarly, you do a curly brace and city. That's all you need to know. Now your string over here, it's gonna pull the value of age, profession, and city from the variables that you see up here. Let's try running that. So we're gonna do fstring.py. So over here you can see it says I am at 25 years old. It gets 25 from the variable over here. For the profession, it gets software engineer, once again from the variable over here. And for the city, it gets San Francisco from the variable over here. So very easy and very clean way to do it. There are ways you could do it before in Python, but those tended to be more verbose and not very pretty to look at. This is a much cleaner way to do that. So that's a simple example. Now let's see what we mean by evaluate at runtime. Right? So I'm gonna have an example over here. Let's say another print statement with a formatted string, and it's gonna say 10 years from now I will be, and then you could do something like age plus 10 years old. So let's take a look at the example and then I'm gonna explain what's happening. So over here you can see it goes and says I will be 35 years old. The way formatted string works is you can put any statement within the curly braces over here, and this statement or expression, more correctly it should be expression, this expression is run at runtime. So you don't have to have a value computed beforehand. You can evaluate things at runtime. So when this print statement is running, there you go. When this print statement is running, what the formatted string does is it sees that it has some placeholder data over here, and it knows that this is an expression, not just a variable. So at runtime, it's gonna go look up the value of age, add 10 to it, convert it to a string, and then show it to you in the print statement. Hence you can see 35 here. So very similarly, let's say you have, so let's say name, smaller case, right? Uppercase, right? So let's say I have my name in uppercase over here. So what you could do is, in a formatted string, you could literally do name uppercase dot lower. Right? So you could do that in the formatted string. And this is gonna run at runtime. And you see, we had Ortiz a capital letter, and now we have Ortiz a smaller letter. So yeah, it's evaluated at runtime, which makes it very convenient for inputting dynamic values. All right, so the next bit is gonna be a debugging technique. So let's say you have these variables, right? I'm gonna copy paste them over here. A very common thing to do is do something like this, and then you can put the, right? So if we print this out, I'm gonna comment out the other print statements. Okay, so this is not using any formatted string. But it's very common for you to do something like this when debugging, like the name of the variable and then the actual value, so that you can see what variable has what value. So instead of using a normal print statement without a formatted string, you can use a formatted string, which makes the whole thing much more simpler. So all you could do is do a print and then formatted string, and then you could do your curly braces, and then the name of the variable, in our case it was name, and then a equals to. So the equals to has to be within the curly braces, right? So what this does is it gives you the name of the variable and the value in a very nice formatted way so that you can easily debug it. So let's say if we just get rid of this, and then we have the same thing, one for age, one for profession, and one for city, and then we're going to print it out. So over here you can see all the name of your variables and the value of the variables printed out very easily. All you had to do was, within a formatted string, give the variable name and then an equals to sign. So a very quick and simple way you can use to do any kind of debugging. Alright, so I'm gonna comment this out, and then the last thing we're gonna take a look at is gonna be the dictionaries, right? So we're gonna do work with dictionaries. So let's say I have a dictionary over here called my data, and then let's say I have a name, which is gonna be once again Urtiza. I have age, which is gonna be 25. I have profession, which is gonna be software engineer, and then I have a city, which is gonna be San Francisco. Right, so this is all the data that I have. And what you could do is, in a print statement with a formatted string, you could do something like I am, and then I can just pull the age variable from my data dictionary. It's old, and then once again I can pull my profession. I am a 25 years old engineer living in, and then I'll have the city name, so that's gonna be, there you go. And now if I print that out, I am a 25 years old software engineer living in San Francisco. So if you have all your data in a dictionary, you can still use it very easily in formatted string. And the reason is this expression over here is evaluated at runtime, so you don't have to have the value computed beforehand. One thing to note is when you are not indexing, but getting the value from the dictionary. So when you're mentioning the key of the dictionary, you want to make sure the quotes you use here are different from the quotes you use for the string. So if you take a look here, I have my string in a double quote, and that's why I'm using a single quote for the values. If I were to use a single quote over here, then I would need to use, so see, it's a red line over here because there's an error. That's because for the string I'm using single quote, so for the dictionary I need to use a double quote. So I need a double quote over here, right? Similarly for profession, I'll need a double quote. And for city, I'll need a double quote too. And now if I run this again, this works just the same. So just make sure you use one quote for the string and one quote for getting the value from the dictionary, and you should be good. So hopefully that was helpful. So we went over a simple example of formatted string. We went ahead and saw how you can put any expression inside the formatted string, and it's gonna be computed at runtime. We went over a debugging technique you can use to print out the values of all your variables much easily. And finally, we took a look at how you can use dictionaries with formatted string very, very easily. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.